and ask that question
So
again.
how about the unfunded retiree benefits? Is that a good place to start?
Well, let me give you a few more thoughts here. There's the growth of the county debt from 60 to 83 to 315 in 2 7-year periods.
I'm just trying to wrap my mind around that figure. 315.
Now, 315 is your derived
million dollars.
your derived estimate of what it is. That's not official from the county per se.
It's documents that have been produced by or on behalf of the county.
Have they agreed to this, that that's truly what the debt is, or have you got that far yet?
I'll give you their ifs, ands, and buts
All right.
as I go into it. Out of that 315 million, 85% of it relates to unfunded retiree benefits.
Hey, that's our old friend Tim Knutson again.
Yeah, so this is the thing that they increased, what, 4 or 5 years ago because of some state law?
Excuse me for my little coughing here.
Some state law required them to book that? Is that what we're talking about here?
No, it's let me get there.
Okay.
Let me get there. I'll get there. One other thing I want to, a couple other little statistics to put out. Okay, so 85% is related to unfunded retiree benefits, 7% is real estate related, 8% is everything else. Now, one of the things I've observed, you've seen how much press the Teeter plan debt has received lately. That's $13 million. And we have $315 million total number here. But if you look at the square inches of local paper coverage in the county, the Teeter plan, I believe, has gotten the most press.
Correct.
And it's 3% of the total.
Correct. So what I'm going to throw out here right off the bat is the majority of this debt is just not underreported, but unreported by the press, by the Ukiah Daily Journal or anybody else.
That's my observation.
Okay.
One last little getting a first sense of the dimension of this thing. In 2000, the county paid $6 million a year towards its debt. In 2007, it was $14 million.
We're talking about interest on the debt.
Interest and principal.
Right.
All debt service, interest and principal. So they went from $6 million to $14 million. 5 years from now, it's projected to be $17 million if there's no more debt incurred.
Right.
Which I don't think is a good bet, for reasons that we'll talk about and that you've been reporting about already. Right. So that's kind of a general sense. The thing I'd like to focus in on, as I was driving over here, I did a quick calculation. If you take the whole debt of the county, around $315 million, and if we're going to talk for 40 minutes, that's $140,000 a second that we have to describe.
That's a good way of breaking it down.
So we can't deal with all kinds of issues here. And that's why I encourage people to go to my site. I've got a big report and a small summary of that big report. It's got all the data sources cited. It's got the tables. It shows the charts of how the debt is developed. And if anybody's wants that background detail and a fuller picture, go get it and read it at your own leisure. But
yourpublicmoney.com?
Right.
Okay.
Yourpublicmoney.com. And I'm going to recommend that our new Board of Supervisors, who will be sworn in short order, do as one of their first acts to investigate exactly what you're saying on your site. I'm not sure our current Board of Supervisors is on board with this, and I know for sure that some of the candidates would be pretty much in the dark about this as well. So I want to thank you on behalf of taxpayers for providing this enormously valuable service to our county.
Thank you very much.
So let's take 80. You said 85% of this of the county debt was unfunded retiree benefits. Why don't we talk about that for a second?
You know, this conversation can get complicated, but I think it's a responsibility of people who do what we do and of county officials to express it as simply as you can so that people can get the essence of the problem.
I agree.
Here's the situation. It sounds real simple. If you work for me at the county for 30 years, after you retire, I'll pay you a pension and maybe you'll get some health care benefits. That's the simple statement, okay? The problem is, and let me describe the dynamic I think that has led us to be where we are today. It used to be the county budget was a tug of war between four groups. First was the politicians. They wanted to get elected and they had certain things they wanted to do. Second was the county's employees. They wanted a good job and they wanted a good retirement. Third was all the citizens out there that wanted something, services. Do this, do that, do the other thing. And the fourth was the taxpayers, the property taxpayers. They didn't want to pay a whole lot of taxes, and frankly, they liked keeping their money. And so those four groups were in a tussle year after year to create what the budget was. And then all of a sudden, Prop 13 passed. And taxpayers all of a sudden no longer had to worry about the county messing up or a city messing up, going deep into debt, blowing a whole bunch of money and getting out of the problem by just bumping up the taxes. That couldn't happen anymore. And so what happened is the front row of budget hearings that used to have taxpayers in it, they all got up and left. And who came and sat down was first the folks that wanted all the programs. But the other thing is since Prop 13's in that 20-year period of time, and this is not a criticism, this is just I think a pretty obvious observation. Public employee unions have grown tremendously in their power and authority. If you take a look at Mendocino County, the largest employer, I believe, is the county. The largest workforce is the county.
Which is another problem, an undiversified economy. But
it's a real problem.
But go on.
Well, they're represented by the Service Employees International Union. And so what you have is